Breaking news. Chennedy Carter. Fired. Chennedy Carter is out. Gone. Fired. This is not a drill, folks. The Chicago Sky has cut ties with their star point guard. This comes after weeks of speculation following a shocking incident involving Carter and rising star Caitlin Clark. This is huge news. Carter's career is hanging by a thread. The WNBA is reeling. This is going to send shockwaves through the league. The shocking incident. A push too far. It all went down during a heated game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. The tension was palpable. Fans were on the edge of their seats. Every dribble, every pass, every shot was met with gasps and cheers. The atmosphere was electric, a true testament to the passion and intensity of the WNBA. Both teams were playing with playoff intensity. Every player on the court was giving it their all, diving for loose balls, fighting for rebounds, and executing plays with precision. The stakes were high, and it was clear that both teams wanted the win desperately. Clark, with her usual dazzling display of skill, was leading the Fever to victory. Her movements were fluid, her shots were accurate, and her leadership on the court was undeniable. She was the heart and soul of her team, pushing them to perform at their best. Then it happened. After a foul was called on Carter, she completely lost it. The frustration had been building up throughout the game, and this call was the final straw. She argued with the referee, her face contorted with anger, her voice rising above the noise of the crowd. She shoved Clark from behind, sending her crashing to the floor. The crowd gasped. The announcers were speechless. It was a moment that seemed to happen in slow motion, the shockwave of the shove rippling through the arena. Clark lay on the floor stunned as her teammates rushed to her side. This was not your average basketball play. It was an incident that would be talked about for weeks. A moment that highlighted the intense emotions and high stakes of professional sports. Players and referees alike were in disbelief. The game momentarily halted as everyone tried to process what had just happened. The push was a stark reminder of the thin line between competitive spirit and unsportsmanlike conduct. The crowd gasps, Carter shrugs, no remorse, no apology. The arena was silent. All eyes were on Clark as she lay on the court. Was she hurt? How bad was it? The answer came soon enough. Clark got up, visibly shaken but thankfully not seriously injured. But something else was even more disturbing. Carter showed no remorse, no apology, no concern for Clark's well-being. It was cold, it was calculated, it was shocking. A career in jeopardy, the fallout begins. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Social media exploded with condemnation for Carter's actions. Fans called for her suspension, even her expulsion from the league. The WNBA launched an immediate investigation. Sponsors began to distance themselves. The incident became national news. Carter, once a rising star, was now the face of on-court aggression and unsportsmanlike conduct. Her career, once so bright, was suddenly shrouded in darkness. Chicago Sky cuts ties, Carter's future uncertain. The Chicago Sky initially stood by their player, Chennedy Carter, despite the controversies surrounding her. They believed in her talent and potential to be a game-changer for the team. However, as the pressure from both the media and fans mounted, the situation became increasingly untenable. The team found itself in a difficult position, trying to balance their support for Carter with the growing public outcry. Eventually, the Chicago Sky announced Carter's indefinite suspension. This decision was not made lightly, as the team had hoped to resolve the issues internally. The suspension was a clear signal that the team was taking the matter seriously and was willing to take drastic measures to maintain their integrity and focus. But everyone knew it was just a matter of time before more significant actions were taken. The tension was palpable, and the anticipation grew with each passing day. And then it happened. The news broke, sending shockwaves through the WNBA community and beyond. The Chicago Sky had officially released Chennedy Carter. This was a monumental decision, one that would have lasting implications for both the player and the team. Carter, once seen as a rising star, now faced an uncertain future. The team issued a statement citing conduct detrimental to the team as the reason for her release. This phrase, while often used in professional sports, carried a heavy weight in this context. It suggested that Carter's actions had significantly impacted the team's cohesion and performance. Carter's future in the WNBA is now uncertain. The league is known for its competitive nature, and teams are often wary of taking on players with a controversial past. Carter's talent is undeniable, but her recent history may overshadow her abilities in the eyes of potential recruiters. Will any team take a chance on her after this? The question looms large as the WNBA community watches closely. Carter's next steps will be crucial in determining her career trajectory. Will she find a team willing to give her a second chance, or will she have to seek opportunities elsewhere? Only time will tell. Whispers from the locker room, tension and discord. Rumors began to swirl. The atmosphere in the locker room was thick with unease, and the once tight-knit group of players seemed to be unraveling. The Chicago Sky, known for their unity and teamwork, were now facing an internal crisis that threatened to derail their season. Whispers from the locker room painted a picture of a player increasingly isolated from her teammates. The tension was palpable, and it was clear that something had shifted. Players who once shared laughs and camaraderie were now seen in hushed conversations, casting furtive glances towards the isolated figure of Carter. The sense of alienation was growing, and it was affecting the entire team dynamic. Sources close to the team spoke of Carter's growing arrogance and her refusal to take responsibility for her actions. Her behavior during practices had become erratic, and her interactions with teammates were often marked by conflict. The once promising point guard, who had shown so much potential, was now at the center of a storm of controversy. Her refusal to acknowledge her mistakes and her confrontational attitude were creating rifts within the team. It seemed that the incident with Clark was not an isolated event, but rather a symptom of a deeper problem. The altercation had brought to light the underlying issues that had been festering within the team. The frustration was evident not just in the locker room, but also on the court. During games, the tension was visible in the players' interactions, and the team's performance was suffering as a result. The once promising point guard had become a liability, both on and off the court. Her actions were not only affecting her own performance but were also dragging down the morale of the entire team. The Chicago Sky, a team that had been poised for success, now found themselves grappling with internal discord. The road ahead was uncertain, and the team would need to find a way to address these issues if they hoped to salvage their season. The story of Carter and the Chicago Sky serves as a stark reminder of how quickly things can change in the world of professional sports, where the line between triumph and turmoil is often razor thin. A team divided Carter's isolation. The incident with Clark seemed to be the tipping point. It exposed the cracks that had been forming within the team. Carter's behavior had created a toxic environment. Her teammates were fed up. The coaching staff was at their wits' end. The once cohesive unit was falling apart, and Carter was at the center of it all. Social media explodes. Fans outraged, Carter silent. The court of public opinion had reached its verdict. Social media was abuzz with outrage and condemnation. Fans expressed their disgust with Carter's actions and her lack of remorse. The hashtag #CarterOut trended nationwide. Yet, amidst the storm, Carter remained silent. No apologies, no explanations, no attempts to justify her behavior. The price of arrogance, Carter's downfall. Chennedy Carter's downfall is a cautionary tale, a tale of talent squandered, of arrogance unchecked, of the price of refusing to take responsibility. Her inability to acknowledge her mistakes and apologize for her actions ultimately cost her everything. The WNBA demands accountability, respect, and sportsmanship from its players.